Welcome to my first vegetable garden. This is the #1 tip I wish somebody would have told me when I first started gardening. This is all about your first compost pile. Late October, early November is the perfect time to start collecting leaves and grass. Bag them up in a lawnmower, put them in a pen. Very simple, but I didn't do it right away. Most of us don't do it right away. We go right into digging and planting and starting a garden. First step, collect all these beautiful leaves and grass, put them into a compost pen. I'll show you some examples. Get the leaves, the grass into a pile and just let it sit there. Hopefully you're going to be gardening for years and years. But if you start this right away, you're going to have the most beautiful compost. It's going to feed your garden soil. It's going to help your plants grow. It's going to save you money. And this is the #1 step I recommend if you're just entering the world of vegetable gardening. Let's take a look around the property. Organic gardening is not about buying packaged products that are stamped organic. It's not even about the fertilizers. It's about using the resources around your property. All of this grass, these leaves, will make a beautiful pile of decayed organic matter that soil life needs, that your plants need, that everything in your garden needs. And you can't buy this in a bagged product. You have to make it yourself. You have to create it yourself. Just look at how the grass is coming through. Combination of greens, the grass, the nitrogen. As it decays, it heats up. It will warm up the browns. The browns then feed this process. And this will heat up a little bit. You'll see the compost pile actually get warm. It's going to start and accelerate the decaying process. It may not be ready in 6 months or even 12 months, but years down the line, by just doing this every year, you're going to have endless compost to really, again, feed your garden. Starting a compost pile is usually an afterthought, thought number 3 or 4, when people are starting a garden. They want to get out there and dig, and I understand people are excited, get started. But compost is what's going to maintain your garden year after year. There are many ways to compost. The most basic way, and what I recommend for your first compost pile, is just create a space, 4 feet by 4 feet. I'll show you a couple more examples. Put your leaves and grass into there. I'd like to have a pen in place, some sort of fencing, so the wind doesn't blow everything away. It can be out in the open, the sun can hit it, just keep it moist. It will decay. What compost does is it feeds microbes, fungi, bacteria, worms. It helps create a space for your plant's root systems to grow and get everything nature intended. So not only is it feeding the soil life, it creates organic matter which holds water, so your plants don't need to be watered as often or as frequently. It really helps supply moisture in that top 2, 4, 6 inches of the soil where your plant's roots are going to grow, the shallow roots, and really want to pull all that good stuff into its body and grow for you. A healthier plant really comes from healthy soil. The plants will be better able to fight off diseases and pests. They're going to grow bigger. The food even tastes better. Here's a compost pile that's going to be ready for next year. I have a process that I set up here. You can check out my other videos for that. But for today, it's really about just setting up the different pens. You could use something more elaborate like this. This is where I put in leaves and hay and straw, make different kinds of compost. Let's go over to a bin real quick. This should be, I think, your first build. In this build, I just did 4 posts, about 4 feet apart. Fencing just comes around the side. The fencing is 4 feet high. It's latched right now, it's closed. But I can just open up this front and I put in different organic matter into here. This will be stuff from my garden. This would be leaves, it would be grass, it would be all kinds of stuff. But right now, cut your grass, bag it up, and start a pile. This is a leaf pile with some grass in it from, I don't know, about a year ago. This is what it's going to break down to. Look at all this beautiful compost. This is going to be used in my garden in the spring. And the whole idea is to start your piles now and just do this every year. I mean, this is just absolutely beautiful. This is my most recent compost pen that I just built. I have a large garden, so I need many of them. 1 is perfect. Just get started. Don't overthink it. This can be placed in the sun, in the shade. Doesn't need a top. Let the water, the rain fall on it. Compost piles need moisture, so you want this to stay wet. It's going to drain really well. Don't worry about it becoming too soaked. Don't overthink it. All right, let's start collecting some of those leaves that I was just showing you, and we'll start a basic compost pile. This is all the material that I got from 3 passes with the lawnmower. It's a lot of material. Perfect time, October, November, to get a combination of grass and leaves. Maybe you don't have a lawn. You can get grass clippings from a friend or family member. You can get leaves roadside. You can compost that way. This is really what we call black gold. In a year, this is just going to break down beautifully, and it's going to give you so much to put into your garden. But it's really going to save you a lot of money. You just don't have to pay for expensive fertilizers and amendments. You can just use what you can take from your property or from family and friends or even from curbside. This is just one pile dumped into my pallet compost area. I'm going to fill this, maybe 2/3 of the way. The roof does have holes in it, so water does get in there. I'm going to just basically fill up all of my compost stations with everything that I showed you today. We'll also fill up the basic pen. Again, the basic pen is the easiest way to get started. You don't need to do something elaborate like this. This is 4 loads from the wagon. You want to pile it up, something like that. It could go a little bit higher. Just pile in the leaves and the grass as you get them. Want to soak it in. This does have a roof again, has some holes in it. Moisture is the key. If you don't want to build anything, the whole key is getting compost started. You can just start a pile. Pile it somewhere, get a tarp, soak the leaves down, the grass down, cover it over with the tarp, weight it down. It'll keep everything in place. You may not have full compost ready for spring next year, but midsummer you're going to have good stuff that you can use as a top dressing in your garden. But you get this started now. I wish I would have probably listened is a better way to put it, and started compost immediately. You're going to need it every year, saves you a lot of money, and of course the garden's going to love it. But it's nothing fancy. You don't have to make this compost in 60 days or 90 days. You don't have to turn it. You don't have to do a hot composting process. Just get the leaves piled up, let them do their thing. 6 months to 12 months, you'll have something that you can use in your garden. Do this every year. You'll have a continuous supply of compost to take care of everything you need in your garden. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and follow me. I will teach you how to grow an entire vegetable garden in 2024. And remember, first thing you start with is setting up your compost pile.